All right, well, if you guys are catching this on replay, hello and welcome to the live stream here. We're going to give people a chance to hop on here, so just going to kind of hang out for a few minutes and let everybody come on here. All right, guys, what's happening? Stephen Howell here. Hope you're doing fantastic. I'm just going to give it a few minutes here for everyone to hop on. And I'm going to go ahead and record this as well. What's up, guys? Welcome. So when you enter the live stream here, go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. We got 4 people on now. We're gonna go ahead and give it a few more minutes here for people to hop on. We got 4 people on now. We're gonna go ahead and give it a few more minutes. What's up? Welcome. What's up, Noel? Oh my gosh, so good talking with you last week, man. So go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat, guys, and just let me know your first name and then also where you are located in the country. Hey, Mitch, what's going on? Good to have you here. What's up, Noel? Yeah, family's doing great. Wife and daughter just went out to run a couple errands. It's Ohio here. We have just got blitzed with a little bit of snow. Let me go ahead and turn the camera on here. Yeah, we got blitzed with a little bit of snow here in Ohio. So yeah, it's like I'm ready for spring. I don't know about you guys. Steven, what's up from Fort Worth, Texas? Mitch from Spokane, Washington. Marquez from Memphis. What's up, Marquez? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. All right, guys. So we got about 7 people on. So if I'm not sure how long you guys have been, paying attention to my emails or. First off, I'm so glad to have you guys here. I've done a series of webinars, and a lot of times I'll do them a little bit later in the evening, around 8 o'clock Eastern time, and that gets a really good show up rate. So I've never done a YouTube live stream. This is kind of like my first time doing this. So I have no idea how many people will show up live, how many people will catch this on replay, but I figured it'd be a really cool way for us to just kind of hang out a little bit, and talk, and just super informal. I don't have like a big slideshow, planned or, anything like that. Just a chance for us to kind of connect and you to ask questions. If you're just showing up right now, go ahead and enter your name in the chat, where you're from in the country. Well, I guess it shows me your name already in the chat, but still, I appreciate you guys. And then here in the next minute or so, we'll just go ahead and get started. And so just be thinking about a couple of, maybe questions that in your wholesaling business. And this can be really around wholesaling, branding, marketing, becoming an entrepreneur, or different skill sets within wholesaling, all of those things. Any topic, it really is not off limits. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So we got 11 people on here right now, which is cool. What's up, Roger? What's up, Unique? Jessica from Dallas, welcome. Jersey is getting hit hard with snow. Absolutely. 6 to 8 inches Oh my gosh, Unique, that's crazy. I think we got about 4 inches and then some ice with it, so not quite as bad, but yeah, crazy. I'm ready for the warmer weather, that's for sure. My wife and I were heading to St. Louis this summer for a wedding, and then we're looking at a possible Florida trip as well, so looking at a couple of those things. So why don't we go ahead and do this, guys? It's 8 after 3 right now. Let's go ahead and dive in. What I have planned is kind of like, just a Q&A style. We'll go for about 30 or 45 minutes. I know it's kind of in the middle of the day. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We have 12 people on right now, and there'll be, a little bit of, people seeing this on replay and stuff like that. So let's kind of dive in. What are the most pressing things that you guys are wanting to learn today? What's some topics you guys want to talk about? Jeronica, welcome. What's up from Charlotte? Awesome, awesome. Charlotte is an awesome market. What's up? What's up? So if you guys have caught in some of my past videos over the last few weeks, I'm starting to finally solidify that habit of getting up at 4:30 a.m., getting a workout in, and it's starting to become a little bit easier. I am a natural night owl, so a lot of times when I start going to bed and stuff at night, I'll just get all these ideas going through my mind, like different things I can do in business, different, if there's different problems that are creeping up, I'll start to get real creative at night. So kind of like trying to turn my mind off at night and just get to sleep and get up early. I'm starting to do that. And what I'm noticing, guys, it's been tremendous just getting up early, getting a workout knocked out, and then starting in on my to-do list. And I have time, set aside for prayer and some personal things as well. And then I start, getting on to the work projects, and that's been really, really effective. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update there. All right, so Jeronica wants to hear a little bit about building a buyer's list. Noelle, about how to find the deceased names and get access to the probate list. I called the court and they said you need a deceased name. So yeah, we can definitely talk about that. So Noelle's asking, as you guys may or may not know, one of the ways that I started to see a lot of success in this business, and it's one of the main pillars that I kind of teach, is probate investing. It's a huge source of motivated seller leads. So a lot of times when you guys are getting started in a wholesaling business, one of the most challenging things in the beginning is, how in the world do I get people to know about me, and how can I start, building, getting leads coming in the door? How can I start getting deals under contract? Because we want the assignment check, we want the deal done, but it all starts with building our pipeline full of leads, and full of leads that you can have one, set of leads over here where you're just calling people and it feels like you're running into a brick wall and it's not getting anywhere. And then you can have another, set of leads where you're actually talking with people that do need to sell, and they have equity in their home and they are willing to sell for a discount. So it's two complete different scenarios. So I just want to give you guys some confidence and some direction. And when you're building a list of motivated sellers, when you're building your business, a lot of times it feels like that is one of the hardest parts, and then you look back over a couple of months and generating leads in your business is one of the easier parts. And then the next phase becomes, how can you get better at conversion? How can you get better at turning those leads and analyzing them really, really quickly, and turning them into deals, and turning them into deals under contract, and knowing how to do that becomes what takes a little bit of practice and what takes a little bit of skill and stuff. So first off, before we get into it too far here, I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Is the audio coming through nice and clean for you guys? Just go ahead and type a Y in the chat if the audio sounds good. Awesome, awesome. Steven says yes. Unique says yep. All right, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, So let's start with the buyer's list. That was one of the first questions that came in from Jeronica. So building a buyer's list is something, Jeronica, that depending on where you're at in your business, and feel free to go ahead and enter this into the chat. I wouldn't spend a ton of time. I wouldn't go out of my way. I wouldn't go out of my way not to build a buyer's list. It's just I wouldn't spend a ton of time on it in the beginning. You're in Charlotte, Jeronica, so super hot market. If you get a deal 50 cents on the dollar, a $200,000 house under contract for $100,000, you're going to have no problem at bringing in a buyer for that deal. So the biggest thing that you want to focus on is getting at least close to getting a deal under contract, okay? You want to focus all your energy, all your effort on people in your area, so Charlotte, knowing that Jeronica and her partners buy houses. They need to know that you're a possible solution for their burning problem. They need to know that you exist. So when I first started, to give you an example, like I would kind of flip-flop. I would start building a buyer's list for a couple weeks, and I'd get some buyers, and I'd be telling them about all the amazing things that I'm going to do, all the amazing deals that I'm going to have. And after a while, that gets a little old. You know, they're going to hear you out, but after a while, if you're not sending them deals, you can only have that conversation for so long. So I think a much better approach, especially in this really hot market that we're in 2018, is to go out there and actually get that asset under contract. And that way, when you talk to the buyer, you actually are presenting them something. But Bandit signs still work very well for buyers. Inside my blueprint product and what I do with my students is every single time they get a deal under contract, we have a series of 12 things that they do to build that buyer's list. But just kind of sharing a few of those with you guys, Bandit signs still work. You know, if you still have, you know, a property under contract, like we're talking about, a $200,000 house for $100,000, and you say rehab special, investor special, you know, worth $200,000, you know, $120K cash worth $200,000, and your phone number, you're gonna get a lot of calls. Another thing you can do is send out, like what I like to do is put together a very colorful cash buyer flyer that kind of has the specs of the deal, some bullet points that are important to them, and send that out to the 30 or 50 people in your area who have paid cash for, you know, a deal in the last 6 months. And then of course Craigslist and things like that work very, very well. Go into meetup groups. So selling the deal on the back end, what most people struggle with is getting an actual, they don't believe in the beginning that it's possible to get a deal like I'm talking about for that drastic of a discount. So that's more than half the battle, you know, with the buyer's list. So is that making sense, guys, on the buyer's list? Because a lot of this business that you'll find out is just a matter of your focus, right? Unless you have some huge business and you already have a well-established team and you have people under you, you know, everything boils down to your focus. Like, what are you focused on right now? And you can only do so much. So the biggest thing that you want to focus on in the beginning is getting people to call you or email you, okay? So let's go back up to some other questions here. And guys, keep the questions coming in. Let me know if this stuff makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't make sense, and I will definitely try my best to clarify. Awesome. Okay, so Noelle's asking about finding the deceased name at the probate court. So you said that you called the court and they said you need the name. Yeah, that is one of the things, Noelle, that you will sometimes run into. Some counties can be really, really easy to get the probate records. Sometimes you can get access to them online. And then other times it's very, you know, you kind of have to jump through a few hoops. I don't say that to discourage you. I just say that to be very real. In those situations, although it can be a little frustrating, for the life of you, don't let it discourage you, because right there, as soon as like anybody runs into a little bit of an obstacle, a lot of times they're on to a different lead strategy. And that's okay, because it's less competition for you. But you can get access to the deceased name. I would go down to the courthouse So a lot of times if you're just calling, sometimes you're talking to somebody who is new, or they just don't want to be on the phone, or they don't really know, or it is really the case that sometimes you need a case number in certain counties, and sometimes you need a name. So what I do is just go down to the courthouse, and sometimes you have to go to a different department, like the records department, or where they house like the obituary records, which sounds a little crazy, it sounds a little morbid, it sounds a little weird, but there is a records department, and you can, sometimes you have to cross-reference that information. But if you go down there with just an absolute persistent seeking attitude, like you kind of have to put your investigator hat on for a little bit. And, I've had students go down there, kind of rub shoulders with another investor who looked like they were copying records down on their laptop. Or if they just keep seeing you show up a couple of different times, sometimes they're like, sweetie, what can I help you with? I keep seeing you down here. And once they really understand that, you're not just trying to take advantage of people, you're not trying to spam people, that you have a real business, that you offer real solutions, and you carry yourself with confidence, and you're solution oriented and creative, basically where there's a will, there's a way, you will find those records. And then other times I've had people, go to their local meetup group, and again, just kind of ask, through word of mouth, man, in Philadelphia, for example, probates can be a little tricky. Denver, Colorado, they can be a little tricky. So finding somebody in a local meetup group who kind of knows an in, I've had it before where a clerk finally shows you the case number, and then once you have that one case number, you can just work backwards each week. It's 000145, and then so you just 000144, and you can kind of work backwards. So all the courthouses are a little bit different, but just know, first and foremost, Noel, that you're going to always find more information at the probate courthouse than you will by calling them. But that's one thing, you're not alone. Having to get a case number or the deceased name is a common thing. It can be a little frustrating, but don't let that stop you, man. Seriously. Let's see. What else do we got here, guys? This is so weird doing a chat like this because there's not a huge echo for you guys. The volume is turned down. So I'm used to doing one-on-one calls, or even with a webinar, there being music or whatever in the background. And I'm talking at my computer with no sound in the background. And I'm reading this little chat. So bear with my probably goofy face expressions here. It's a little weird on my end, but hopefully you guys are getting some value out of it already. So Stephen had asked, on your contract as the buyer, do you have to put and/or assigns to maybe assign the contract to a buyer? Yes, Stephen, if you're wholesaling, you definitely want to make sure you have and/or assigns on there. That way you're getting equitable interest in the contract, and you have a right to market that contract. If you want to bring in a partner on the back end, you can assign your interest in the contract to an end buyer. So make sure when you're advertising a deal that you're not necessarily advertising the property, you're advertising a contract for the property to see if you can bring in an end buyer. So that's a big thing to understand. But yeah, having and/or assigns on the assignment contract is a big thing, or on your purchase contract, in general. And for contracts, guys, I know when I started, it used to scare the crap out of me. It used to really freak me out about contracts. Don't stress out about it too much, because what I always tell people, if you're finally marketing, you're branding your business, and you're getting a ton of leads coming in, and you finally have a really good conversation with somebody has equity, they want to sell for a discount, and the lead I was talking about with Jeronica in that hypothetical example, you have a $200,000 house and you get a deal under contract for $100K, and all that, or you're about to get that deal under contract, and the only thing you have to figure out is how to fill out the contract, and you're going to make $20,000 for bringing in an end buyer, you better believe you're going to figure out how to fill out that one-page piece of paper or a couple of pages piece of paper. You can get on YouTube, You can contact local wholesalers in your area, which is probably a last resort because obviously you don't want them taking the deal. But you can go to a local like meetup group. You can ask for help, be resourceful. And so for me, like I used to want to understand every little paragraph, every little this, and you do want to understand those things. Don't get me wrong, you absolutely do. But what I'm saying is just kind of like don't let the fear of a contract, because it's a real fear, like thinking you have to understand every little nuance about it, that like really kind of kept me from doing as much marketing as I probably should when I first started. So let me know in the chat if contracts like freak you guys out, like I know it did me when I started. All right, so Jessica Ramirez is asking, what's the best way to get started wholesaling and how do you get a good contract? So there's a couple ways you can get a good wholesaling contract. Number one is you can Google it and get really creative on Google, and there are free like purchase contracts out there. You can type in the state that you live in, the county, the area, the target market that you live in, plus purchase contract. You can talk with like with a local realtor. You can go to your local investor like meetup club and just ask around and say, hey, I'm just getting started in real estate. Like, you know, I'm doing a lot of marketing and I'm just trying to get my hands on a really good purchase contract that protects me as an investor, that's very simple. And then the other way, Jessica, to get your hands on a good contract is through a really good wholesaling or investing course. They're going to come a lot of times with a purchase contract, with an assignment contract. So one thing that I didn't understand, and this hopefully might be a little helpful for you guys, let me know in the chat if you were under this confusion, because believe it or not, I was when I first started. I thought there was just like one assignment contract that you fill out. And when we're talking about wholesaling real estate and wholesaling contracts, there's actually two contracts. Did you guys know that? Let me know in the chat if you guys knew that or if you didn't. Wow, there's more stuff coming through. Sweet. Boom, boom, boom. Noelle said no. Jessica said no. So there's actually two contracts. Yeah. So one is a purchase contract that is saying, hey, you know, we're putting this contract, this piece of real estate under contract to purchase it, you know, and or assigns. And so you have that contract, right? And that's the contract with you and the seller. And then you have what's called an assignment contract. And that's where you're taking that contract where you have the property with the seller. And let's just say, we'll use the Jeronica example. Jeronica, I hope you don't mind me keep using your name. For the $200,000 property in Charlotte that we have for $100,000, and we get that under contract with the seller for a purchase price of $100,000 cash. That's our purchase contract with the seller. And then the second contract is when we bring in a buyer who, let's say, is Fred, the rehabber, who's going to buy our deal for $120,000 cash. And he's gonna be the one that's funding all of this. He's going to be the one paying for the closing cost. He's going to be the one that is funding, you know, the property for the seller, $100,000 to the seller, and then we get the $20,000 in between. And that's an assignment contract. It says, hey, you know, this contract that was dated on March 21st, 2018 with the seller at, you know, the blank, blank, blank address here in Charlotte, Mr. Buyer, we're assigning this contract to you for $20,000 for a total purchase price of $120,000. So I just use very simple one-page contracts for each, the purchase agreement and also the assignment contract. I keep it very, very simple. And then occasionally, if I'm working with like an attorney who's used to doing more traditional real estate deals with like realtors and stuff, they'll ask that I put it on a realtor contract, which I don't always like doing, but sometimes I'll do it. But those a lot of times can be 10 or 15 page contracts. you have to really make sure that you have some outs in the contract. For example, you know, a contingency for an inspection and some different things so that you're protected, and that you have to make sure it's assignable. So about 10 or 20% of the time, I will send it over on a realtor contract and just make sure I add in my addendums and things like that. So I don't say any of that to scare you. All of that stuff is very simple. It's very easy. The first time you do it, you'll understand, like, okay, boom, like that wasn't that bad. All right, let's see here, guys. So Jessica, to answer the next part of your question as far as how to get started in wholesaling, number one, if you click the link in the description, I definitely recommend going through my wholesaling blueprint. I designed that course from the very you know, first time you get started with wholesaling all the way to growing and scaling your business. I have over 85 videos in there, everything you could ever want to know, plus all my contracts, plus all that stuff. That's the best place to get started, in my opinion, for wholesaling. But the biggest thing is just focus with wholesaling, Jessica, is you want to really focus on marketing, on getting the message out there that you and your partners buy houses, and marketing to motivated sellers. And I'd recommend, you can check on my YouTube channel. The video, I think, has over 127,000 views. And then you can also opt in to get my like free 10-day boot camp about probates. I recommend starting with probates and then, you know, starting marketing and generating seller leads and kind of getting in the habit of talking with sellers and making verbal offers, and then in your spare time doing as much research and things like that as you can as well, to really, you know, decide that, you know what, this is a skill that I want to learn, and really dedicating these next like 2 or 3 months to learning the skills of wholesaling. And when you kind of make that commitment, that's when a lot of things, you know, start to change. So that's kind of where I'd recommend starting, you know, to learn this business. Boom, boom, boom. Unique, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear about your vehicle, and I know that you emailed me, and so yeah, that makes it challenging when you don't have a vehicle. Unique, that is just heart-wrenching that your vehicle you know, was taken and stuff like that. So you know what you want to do, Unique, let's see, did you say that you have access to probate online? If you can get access to probates online, Unique, I would do that in your area, because then you don't have to drive to the courthouse. Like once you finally, you know, once you figure out how to get the probate leads in your area, and then you can kind of focus on that. The good thing about like what I believe like with wholesaling and stuff is that, you know, I used to make the mistake of thinking I had to drive out to each and every property and just absolutely, you know, see everything. But the truth is, like, you should be making a lot of verbal offers on the phone. Like, when you do this business right, like, time is your most valuable asset. So you should have to rarely leave, you know, leave your residence, which is great. You can make a lot of verbal offers, and then, you know, once you've already made an offer and they already know the price you're at, then you can go see the property in person and things like that. So it will be a little challenging not having a vehicle, obviously, but Unique, I believe in you. You know, we've been talking a while now, and I know your heart, and I know that you're gonna, you know, you're gonna work through that. So let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Mellow Dread says skip tracing leads instead of mail. Yes, this is actually something I'm looking into very heavily. Skip tracing is huge. There's an investor, and I was actually just talking to a friend of mine who works for Rebo Gateway, which is a great way to pull leads to do mailing. And he's been with them about 6 years, and he is actually switching to do, instead of like lots of postcard mail, because mail can be so expensive, and to compete and to get results like with direct mail with postcards, you have to send such a high volume amount. Like most people don't do enough volume with postcards, and it can be an area where you waste a lot of money. So actually calling the leads, skip tracing, and doing massive amounts of phone calls instead of sending out direct mail, you can get such a higher response rate. So yes, Mellow Dread, I think that's super, super smart. Unique, that's awesome. There's a system there in DC online that you're able to get access to the leads. So that's awesome. Unique also says, is it a good idea to have our contracts looked at by an escrow company? No, I wouldn't say that. You know, if you have, you know, access, you know, if you have access to, you know, a good purchase contract and stuff like that, you don't necessarily need that. I mean, if an attorney or the closing company or whoever has an issue with the contract that they're using, they're gonna tell you about it, and then you can work through that together. So yeah, I wouldn't, you know, stress about that in the beginning. So guys, what else? What else? Let's keep the questions coming here. So are you guys getting value out of any of this thus far? I want to make sure to be respectful of your guys' time, and you know, I want to talk about things that you want to learn. So there's no silly questions. There's no dumb questions. I was gonna ask you guys actually a couple questions as well. So you know, if you don't mind sharing with me, you know, just you know, why did you guys, you know, get on this this live stream? Why are you guys kind of getting into real estate wholesaling? Why now? Feel free to type a little bit, because I want to kind of see some of the trends, and then I want to again, you know the best things that you, or the biggest things rather, that is kind of keeping you stuck from you know, from doing deals. Noel says, do you get oh, and I just realized my chat or my video here is off. So Noel says, do you get Bandit signs custom made? So Noel, if you go to my YouTube channel here, I just got done recording a very in-depth 4-part series on Bandit signs. I do recommend getting Bandit signs custom made from a local plastics company and then cutting them in half. It can save you so much money, and I show you how to save a lot of money and then eventually outsource Bandit signs to have them handwritten. And you know, Bandit signs are one of those things that almost every year that passes, you know, it was 2016 and 2017, now 2018. Sometimes people think Bandit signs don't work, and it's like one of the most surefire ways over time to generate like consistent leads. You know, if you just put them out every single weekend or have somebody put them out. So yeah, I've always been a big fan of Bandit signs. Definitely not the only thing that I do, but when you're just getting rolling, Bandit signs like are just huge. And even after you're going for a while, I love Bandit signs, but I recommend doing them custom and handwritten. All right. So Ascension was asking how skip tracing. So like skip tracing is basically looking up people's phone number. A good company is TLO, and there's some other ones out there. I'm actually getting a contact of one that's supposed to be like one of the best in the country, that's very under the radar. And when I get access to that information, I may put together like a training or something around it. But it's basically like, let's say if you were going to send a postcard mailing to tax defaults, right? And you were going to send it out to 5,000 people. So basically what skip tracing is you're getting the person's email address and their phone number, and none of them are 100% accurate. So the guy I was talking with today, for example, he's saying right now they're showing about 3,800 to 4,000 out of 5,000 records to be accurate, which is a pretty high rate. So let's think about it. Like if you're sending postcards out and you're sending out 5,000 postcards a month and you're spending $2,500 a month, like that's a lot of money, right? And to really compete in the postcard game, you need to be sending out 2,500 postcards a month, or else like it's hard to compete. And here's the rule when it comes to like print advertising. You know, a lot of times people will go to these big seminars, they'll get hyped up and they'll think, man, I'm just going to send some yellow letters or I'm going to send some postcards to absentee owners, which isn't the worst thought in the world. However, to actually, like the response rates that you're getting are so low, and a lot of times people will send out 500 postcards or 1,000 postcards. They'll spend $500, $1,000, and they'll get 3 phone calls, and they'll be so discouraged and want to just like throw in the towel. And I've been there. I've done that. You know, it's not fun. The rule of advertising is that 80% of your campaigns are going to fail and 20% are going to succeed. And when you're testing direct mail, you have a lot of variables that you have to test, right? You have to test the headline. You have to test the body of the postcard, what it's saying, the actual marketing message. You have to test the call to action, like what you want them to do, like call you now, email you now. You have to test the coloring. You have to test, the list itself, the design, and there's like all these different things that you want to test. So by the time you actually get it all dialed in and you get it tweaked, a lot of times with big direct mail, it can be, month 6, month 7 before you really start to see a ton of results with these big campaigns. So that's why, guys, like inside my wholesaling blueprint course and with the students I work with, I'm all about building this business smart, building it lean. The truth is you don't need a fancy website. You don't need, some fancy LLC, massive business. You don't need to be doing tons of direct mail. And that's why I love probate. So for about $100 a month, you can really get probate up and running. It's still my favorite lead source. And then when you master a few other things like phone calls and Craigslist and and different things as far as marketing for motivated sellers, you can go ahead and get your first $10,000 or $15,000 wholesale deal, your first $20,000 deal, and then you're okay with pulling out $2,500 or $2,000 to do a postcard campaign because it's coming from profit, not your life savings, right? So there's a time and place for everything. So essentially, when you were asking about direct mail and stuff like that, or I'm sorry, skip tracing. Skip tracing is basically getting the phone number and the email to all 5,000 of those people, or a percentage of them, like 4,000, and contacting them. Just quick phone calls, because a lot of times the rule in direct mail is that a lot of times they're not going to respond to you till the 3rd time you send the postcard, or the 7th time. Well, if that person wasn't interested the entire time, you just wasted so much money, right? Whereas if you could call them and they said, hey, look, Steve, I'm not interested, and please don't mail me anymore. Boom, at least you know at that point, right? So a lot of people are starting to catch on to that. It's not that direct mail is going to die or anything like that. There's a place for it for sure. But it's once you get to a certain marketing threshold level where you can drop $5,000 or $2,000 or whatever on direct mail. And so a lot of people are moving to like just a lot of phone calls and stuff. So let me know if you guys thought that was cool. That's something that I personally am looking into a lot more because I think there's a lot of power in it. So if that's exciting to you guys, definitely big thumbs up. I'd love to hear that from you. I know that's exciting for me. So guys, here's what I'm gonna do. I have been drinking my water like crazy today. I got my protein shaker here. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, and I know that's like super unprofessional. You guys think about like the questions and things like that. I'm gonna be back in less than a minute. I'm here at my home office. I know that's so unprofessional, but I have to pee like crazy. You guys let me know what you want to talk about. We've been at this for about 30 minutes, and I want to keep this going for about another 15-20 minutes. So let me know what you guys want to learn, and I'll be back in just a second. All right, guys, I am back. I am back. Noel says he needed one too. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, yeah, when my wife and I, when we go on vacation, or ever since she met me, like back in college, I've always drank so many fluids like my whole life. And she's like, man, you pee more than anyone I know. And like we go on a road trip, she's just shaking her head because she knows, like, you know, it's bound to happen. Like I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom. So little TMI there, probably more than you guys wanted to know. But let's keep this moving here. All right, so Steven says, after repair value on a property, is it typically 60 to 70% to get your MAO? MAO, I think you mean max something offer. I know there's different people have like different formulas and stuff like that. No, the after repair value, Steven, is like what would the house like sell for really, really quickly, like in perfect condition. So from an investor's perspective, like if you were a rehabber, or you're a landlord, like what would you buy the property for, like ASAP, like or I'm sorry, not what would you buy it for, but what would it sell for if it were fully fixed up? Like pretend you're a rehabber, you want to make your money back, so you're not playing around, and you know, you fix up the property, it's in perfect condition, what would it sell for? So, you know, to look at the after repair value, that in itself is a little bit of an art. But yeah, you want to see what's selling within a half a mile to a mile within the last 3 to 6 months. Similar square footage, like within a certain, like a 10% range of square footage. And then, you know, the same beds and bath if possible. If there's not as good sold comps in the area, then we want to be more conservative on our pricing. If it's in, you know, a rougher area, we want to be more conservative, you know, that type of thing. So you might be asking, Steven, like, you know, what percentage of, you know, of the after repair are we getting deals for? And that's different all around the country, but I'd say around 50%. You know, generally speaking, with wholesaling, we're getting deals for 40 to 60% of the after repair value. Back when I first started wholesaling, you know, back in 2008, 2009, the market was a lot colder. So we were getting deals for 20 or 30% of the market value because nothing was selling. So in a hot market, you're going to be able to pay a little bit more. But I'm still getting deals all the time for 50 cents on the dollar, 50%. You know, a $100,000 house for $50K, a $200,000 house for $100K. All right, so somebody said, hey, Steve, I really appreciate what you do for us. Sometimes I have troubles with attorneys viewing me as a resource. I feel like they screen me and never pass on my info. Yeah, you know, what you want to do there is have a conversation with them. You know, sometimes like getting in with an attorney, a lot of it is how we're presenting ourselves and the confidence level and not being needy. And just like realizing that we have a lot of value to offer as well, and they're dealing with a lot of estates. And we could be a very valuable resource, you know, to help them, you know, get through that estate. And we're not going to waste their time. And as soon as they, you know, they see that, like, you know, say you're talking with John, the attorney, and you're like, you know, John, I just, you know, I know you're super busy. I'm super busy. Like, I want to let you know that, like, I'm not just going to be making lowball offers. Every single property, like, I do my due diligence. And I realized, John, that, you know, there's going to be a lot of these probate cases where it doesn't make the most sense. Like, the estate is better suited listing it with the realtor. I totally get that. It doesn't matter if the house needs a lot of work or a little bit of work. You know, if they do need to sell it really, really quickly and they'd be willing to take a little bit of a discount and maybe, you know, they want a cash offer, a direct offer, my partners and I are interested in picking one up before tax season. Like, always use the frame of reference, the time of year you're in, because people can relate to that. It's really, really important. So you can just say, hey, John, you know, I've sent you a couple letters. Here's my cell phone, you know, and I'd love to be a great resource. So, you know, if you have an estate like that, you can say, hey, my good buddy Steve over here, you know, him and his partners buy houses. Let me see if he can help you. So sometimes you have to kind of paint the picture for the attorney. But like when you have that confidence and you're not needy and you're not desperate, and you can kind of paint that little bit of a vision, boom. And they know that like you're a real person, and like you know, and you already know that a lot of the leads aren't going to work out, and not all of them are suited for the services that you offer. That's like music to their ears. They're like, finally, somebody who has a head on their shoulders, somebody who gets it. Like, so see the difference there? Like, so hopefully RR3S sticks. Sorry about the name there. But hopefully that helps a little bit with you reaching out to them. Boom, boom, boom. M-Town Stunna says, for financial freedom, absolutely. So let me guys know, I want to know like kind of like the audience here, have you guys done deals before? Have you already, comment in the chat if you have already done your first wholesale deal, how much it was, or at the same token, let me know that you don't have a deal under, you've never had a deal, you're just getting rolling. I'd love to know. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so Steven, never done a deal. Jessica, never done a deal. I'm just kind of letting some of the comments roll in, guys. I think there's like a 5 or 12 second delay or something like that from live. I just want to kind of catch up here a little bit. Okay, so hey, that's no worries at all, guys. You guys are getting close now. So one thing I'd recommend, this is like a little tip, I'd recommend tracking the action that you guys are taking each week. And I know it's like a little bit boring. I used to hate tracking stuff. But seriously, like make a little spreadsheet and track how many phone calls you're making every day, how many letters you're sending out every single day, how many emails, whether it's to an attorney, a seller, how many Craigslist ads you're posting, how many Bandit signs you're doing a week, if you're doing a newspaper ad or whatever. In the beginning, like that's what you want to track, like the first month or so. Because if you start tracking like how many appointments you're going on, how many, darn it, I keep forgetting the camera. If you keep tracking like the appointments, the contracts, eventually you want to track the contracts you send out via email, the appointments that you go on. You want to track all of that eventually, but those first few weeks it's going to be a big fat zero. It's going to be discouraging. So how we get those numbers up, or we start tracking the actual other actions that we're taking. So that's a little tip. When I started tracking, what I was doing, I was like, okay, I'm not getting any calls because I'm not doing any marketing. So I just really encourage you guys to, to track the marketing that you're doing and to start doing a lot of marketing. And if you don't know what marketing to do, I definitely recommend Bandit signs, Craigslist, probate. That's a great place to start. There's about 12 or 15 things that I really believe in, but the killer of all your success is going to be trying each one of them for about 2 or 3 weeks and then hopping to the next one. What you really want to do is commit. Like I've had some of my best students have just killed it in a good way with Bandit signs. I've had others just crush it with probate and only probate. I've had others crush it with Craigslist. And I know a lot of the bigger names in the industry, and like they all have like their different things that they believe in, but what they really latch onto is like doing one thing at a time and doing it really, really well. So that's a huge thing that I personally believe in. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's see, guys. What else do we want to know here? Unique says, loving your transparency, Steve. Absolutely. Bum, bum, bum. Let's see. Unique says, what do you think about these gurus talking about the latest technology on pinpoint skip tracing software? Like, first off, if you're paying for, like, you want to do whatever you do cost effectively. So I believe in kind of learning the skills of talking with people on the phone, of placing ads. But yeah, skip tracing is huge. Like, if you can get access to 5,000 phone numbers for a certain mailing list, that's huge. And I would think about that. Actually, next Thursday, guys, I'm going to be doing a webinar with my buddy John Harkar from Rebo, and he now has access to get phone numbers and stuff like that. So that was very intriguing to me. We just had a call earlier today, so I'm gonna get some more information on him, but we're tentatively thinking next Thursday night at 8 o'clock doing a webinar on skip tracing and stuff like that, and getting access to that. All right, Jessica says, me and my husband got very interested in real estate. We went to a real estate event and it's caught attention from there. It's just the fear of how to get started, making sure everything is right. Yeah, Jessica, I definitely hear you there. Like, I know I've been to many events and it can get you highly motivated, highly pumped up. You got to be careful because, like, I've been being in the position that I'm in. Like, I've had the opportunity over the last 4 years to speak with so many people, and it does, like, it breaks my heart. Like, I've talked to so many people that have gone to events, and there's some really good ones out there, but they've invested like $36,000, $12,000, $15,000, $47,000, and they don't have the one-on-one support that they need. So one of the beautiful things is you can find so much information on YouTube. A lot of times you can find what you need in a really good, like, wholesaling course or something like that. So let those things be like a big motivator, but just be very careful about, like, investing, like, life savings and stuff like that, because I've just seen it too many times where it gets really it's obviously, like, heartbreaking to hear and stuff. But yeah, real estate has been just an amazing business. It's definitely changed my life. I think there's a reason that more millionaires have been created in real estate than any other niche, because there's not going to be any more. There's a fixed amount of dry land that real estate is on, and people always need a place to lay their head down at night. And so, although the markets change, it gets hot, it gets cold. That's another reason I love wholesaling, is because even if the market, like, crashed a month from now, a lot of people who are renting houses or who are flipping houses, they're going to be out of the business. But the really good wholesalers are going to be thriving, because then the big time, like, Warren Buffett type investors who can buy 1,000 properties at a time, they like to buy when the market crashes. Do you know why? Because they love getting properties 20 cents on the dollar, 10 cents on the dollar. So just like in the stock market, like, Warren Buffett and investors like that, they're buying certain company stocks when everyone else is freaking out and selling, because they want to buy when they're, millions of shares when they're pennies on the dollar. Same type of thing in real estate. When the market crashes, the life of a wholesaler can still be very good, because we're just adjusting the offer price. So instead of me getting properties for 50 and 60% of the ARV, I would be getting properties for 20 and 30 and 40 cents instead. So that's just another little fun fact there. All right, guys. So what else do we want to talk about before we end this? I want to be respectful of time. It's going on 4 o'clock here. Yes, so Steven says, do you like a Grasshopper? Do you prefer a Grasshopper? I do. I use a Grasshopper phone number. I love Grasshopper. Their support is absolutely amazing. I have a link to Grasshopper in all of my YouTube videos in the description and the description below this live stream. Definitely feel free to check it out. I believe the last time I checked, it was like $12.95. I have 2 phone numbers with them, but for the longest time, I just did it for free with Google Voice. But if you run into a problem and there's all sorts of things that change with it and the features and then sometimes, and I know there's a way to disable it, but sometimes it says like, please wait like while we connect your number, and I think there's a way to get around that. But I just like, it was recommended to me by a few buddies and a few other entrepreneurs, and they loved it. And they're like, look, anytime we have a problem, like we just call into customer service. They're incredible. So I switched everything over to Grasshopper for my, like a dedicated business number, and I love it. It works really well. So that's who I use, but you could use Google Voice for sure. RR3Sticks says, sometimes I feel like I pull too many probate leads and overwhelm myself. 2 counties up to 6 towns. Yeah, so what you want to do is just focus on 1 week at a time. So you want to try to pull about 20 records at a time. That's one of the things I'll get asked a lot is like what's the best thing with probates? And the best rule of thumb is the best probate leads are the most recent. If you have time and you're super hungry and you're motivated and like you're building this business and you know that you're going to build a 6-figure business and you want to go back 6 months on probate, more power to you. It's a very difficult task. What's more beneficial for, if you're just trying to get this lead source up and running is you get current with each week's worth of leads. So you just get going with 20 at a time, 20 at a time. However, and it's going to fluctuate. Sometimes it's 17, sometimes it's 26, 22. And then once you get that system down, and so you'll have to pick a day that you go down to the courthouse and you pull that week's probate leads. So for example, today's the 21st. And if you were going down there today, you would just look up the previous 7 days worth of leads and pull those leads and focus on getting those letters out in the mail, focus on making those phone calls, focus on emailing those attorneys. And then next Wednesday you go down and you just kind of keep doing that. And then if you can, on top of that, if you can work backwards like a month or a couple weeks at least, there will be some low-hanging fruit because a lot of people will say, sorry, I've already sold, it's already listed, nope, not going to sell. You're going to get a lot of no's, but there are going to be some low-hanging fruit with all the people that like maybe they wanted to sell, but they just had to talk it over with the family or they were just waiting on a few things to happen. And now you're approaching them and they're ready to finally do something. So, probate, it is okay to go back like a month or 2 or 3 months. I don't think you need to go back any further than that unless you're just trying to be an absolute monster in your area and you're trying to build a big operation. I think what's more important is that you get current. So yeah, RR36, just try to chunk it down the best you can, and that's gonna help you. Jessica says, we got time. That's awesome. So I hope you guys are getting a lot of value out of this. Like I said, I just want to hop on, answer some of your questions. My voice is a little rough today, so it's like I'm like drinking a ton of water here. Awesome. M Town says he's putting his Bandit signs out Friday once you get off work. That's awesome. That's awesome. What else, guys? What else do we want to talk about here? I'm just kind of cruising back up in the chat to see if I see anything I missed. Oh, this is a good one. I saw this earlier and I forgot to get back to it. So Mitchell asks, what would you say to someone that's never walked through a house to examine the renovation cost? I would smile, and this is hopefully a good vote of confidence that you do not need to be some master craftsman, handyman, and know what every single thing is in a house and how much it costs to fix it, how, you know, all that stuff to be successful at wholesaling. Now, Mitch, if you are trying to become a rehabber, you're going to want to know those things. And as a wholesaler, the more savvy you get, yes, it's helpful to know those things. But we're working with broad numbers, right? So a lot of times the average house that we'll go out and see needs about $30,000 in work to fully update it, to fully renovate it. And the reason why, even the people that tell you, you know, price it off of the square footage and do this formula, a lot of times that stuff doesn't work. I remember doing that and getting houses under contract in the beginning that I could not sell on the back end. And I shared this story over on my mentoring website that I built this past summer and launched around Thanksgiving, StephenHowellMentoring.com. So if you guys are interested, by the way, in kind of like partnering up for your first 5 deals, I do work with a handful of people at a time. I have a few spots available right now. I'm not trying to sell you on mentoring, but I tell this story in one of the pages on that website, and I forget which page it is. But I remember getting a property under contract that was worth, like, I want to say $150,000, and I got it under contract for $150,000. And actually, now that I think of it, the numbers were $100,000. And I did all the formulas and the square footage, and I thought for sure the ARV was like 150 or 200. Well, it really was like basically worth what I had it under contract for. So, and this is when I very first started, like back in 2008, 2009, and I was blasting it out to the buyers, telling them how amazing this deal was. And finally I had someone pull me aside, like, okay, Stephen, like, I need to show you where you messed up here. And so, like, you want to be careful with like the formulas and the square footage and all that type of stuff, because it doesn't always work like that. And an example is that, you know, if you're getting a house under contract in Charlotte, let's say, it's a $200,000 house, we get it under contract for $100,000, and you're selling it on the back end to various amounts of buyers. You can talk to 5 different buyers, and each of those buyers are going to have contractors that they work with, and you could have all the contractors come in, and they're going to give you different bids. One guy's going to tell you it costs $24,000 to renovate it. Somebody else is going to quote $42,000. Somebody else is going to quote $32,000. Somebody else is going to quote $37,000. And somebody else is going to quote $27,000. So the life of a wholesaler, you're working with a little bit broad numbers, and we're getting a property under contract for such a good value that no matter if the person is going to rent it out on the back end or renovate it and flip it, there's enough meat on the bone for that end buyer. We want to, it's not just about this deal, it's about them buying a ton of future business from us. Now, as you get going, you need to understand, is this house that you're about to get under contract, you know, is it the type of property that is most likely going to be rented out, and therefore it needs less work, and somebody's probably not going to fully update it because of the neighborhood it's in, because the area it's in, because of the market, the type of market it is. You know, most likely somebody's just going to put 10, 15, 20K into it and fix it up a little bit and that type of thing. So you need to know those type of things, the situation around the deal. So yeah, you're working in broader numbers. Be more conservative than you think you need to be. What most people do wrong is they fluff the ARV up too high, and so that it's worth a lot less than what they think it could be worth. And then they undervalue what the repairs actually cost because they go off of what the seller is saying, or they're just trying to make a deal where there really is no deal. And so they're like, well, I really wish I could get this deal under contract for 100, but the seller's saying they need 130. So I'm just going to come up to 130 and we'll see if I can get creative enough. And that we want to be disciplined, in our numbers and stuff. So I got a little off track there, Mitch, but when I just want to give you confidence. When I first started, like, I did not know like the cost of like anything inside the house. I'm not like Mr. Fix-It, you know, all that type of stuff. And you can still be very successful in this business. So don't worry about that. Don't feel like you're at a major disadvantage, right? Because people are going to always have different opinions. Bum, 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 bum. RR3 Sticks, can we move our Google Voice number over to Grasshopper, or do I have to get a new number? It depends. So that's, you know, what I would do is call Grasshopper, call their support line, and ask them if they can transition that number over. I went ahead and I did get a new number, but you may be able to transfer that old number over. I'm not quite sure on that. It's a really good question, and I would just kind of ask them that. Bum, 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 bum. All right, guys. So we've had a few people drop off here. We've been going a little bit, 410. So here's a question, and I want you guys to answer this in the chat. Just kind of a short answer. This is something when I do like a live strategy session that I ask everybody that I talk with, and that was if, you know, we were sitting in a coffee shop a year from now, just kind of hanging out, chatting, and it's 2019, you know, at the time of this video, it's March 21st, 2018. And for you to look back over that last year of your life and be happy with where you've come in real estate, what you've accomplished, or even your personal life, what would have to happen over that last year for you to look back and for you to be happy with where you're at in business and what you've accomplished and life? I'd love to hear from you on that. And even if you don't take the time to write that out fully in the chat, that's something that I really, you know, recommend mapping out. Like, you know, why you're getting into this business, what you're looking to accomplish. You know, it's really, really important. And it's helpful for me to know, like, where, you know, what type of things are you looking to accomplish? Noel says getting a Tesla. That's awesome, man. Hey, it's not completely out of this world unrealistic. I mean, it's something that, you know, you work really hard over the next year or so. It's absolutely possible. All right, guys. So seriously, I appreciate you guys coming out. We've been at this a little bit over an hour now. If you guys like this style, I can do these more often. You know, I don't know how often I want to commit to doing them, but I'm just tossing this out there that if you guys like this, and again, a lot of times if I do a webinar, I'll do it at like 8 o'clock at night, but now I have a little daughter, and it's kind of like family time in the evenings and stuff like that. Although if I plan ahead, you know, it's not something I'm opposed to doing, and I will do still certain evening webinars. But I wanted to test this out, and I know a lot of people will, you know, seriously like watch the replay of this and stuff. But I wanted to just like come interact and hang out with you guys, be as personal as I can, and just, you know, get to know you guys, because the fact that you come and watch my videos, the videos, you know, that I've put an emphasis to publish here on YouTube, and that you guys are opening my emails, reading the content, I want you to personally know that, like, I don't take that lightly. Like, you're not just a number. Like, I want to get to know you, like what you're struggling with, and I want you to know that, like, it wasn't long ago when I was right there, you know, and it's frustrating at times, it's so painful at times, but I just want to tell you from, like, you know, making it through those trials and building a business and having time freedom and be able to be around for the birth of my daughter and have flexibility in my schedule. It's life-changing. It's amazing. And I want you guys to go after your dreams. I want you to keep fighting. I want you to know that you can do it. You know, I don't care if you're shy, you're timid, you're an introvert, you don't have a sales background, you don't have a ton of money. I want you, like, in your mind, to the best of your ability, to just start believing and just taking some proactive steps every single day, and just kind of get to that place where you've had enough. And you're ready to like start making some things happen, and you just, you know, whatever it is, if a problem comes your way, if stuff doesn't work out, you're just kind of like, get out of here, like I'm going straight forward no matter what. And you kind of do that for long enough, and stuff just starts to happen. And just ask for help, be resourceful, be proactive, stop complaining. I was just reading a book today. Where is it at? It's actually in my bag here. And it's called by an author that I love, but it's called Anxious for Nothing. So if you guys struggle with anxiety, or worry or doubt or anything like that, I highly recommend getting this book, Anxious for Nothing. But I was reading a chapter today about complaining and how devastating complaining is. Now, for people that know me, like personal family, friends, stuff like that, like I'm not a big complainer, but you know, sometimes like one of the traits that I was told by a mentor that is like really good to have, like if you're the type of person that when you hear like a lesson, if you think, oh, that doesn't apply to me, like a lot of times that applies to you, right? Like you need it most. But if you're the type of person where even though you might be pretty good in that area, you're still analyzing, you're still like, you know what, maybe I could get better. That like leads to so much success. So just constantly be working on yourself as much as you're working on your business. I also want to share couple of other books because I'm a big book fan that I think will help you guys. So if this is over the top, you know, it is what it is, but I just want to be personal with you guys and kind of share with you what I'm reading. So hopefully you guys like it. Let me check in on the chat here. M Town says, this was very informal. Thanks, bro. Boom, 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 boom. You were the man for the help you give us. Really appreciate it. What's your email? Jessica, email me at steven@productivewisdom.com. steven@productivewisdom.com. Before you guys go, if you guys are interested in additional support, additional help, there's two ways. I sent out an email earlier on this today, some different you know, success stories and things like that, just recently that came in. But there's two ways I can help you. One is through one-on-one mentoring, and you want to head over to stevenhowmentoring.com, fill out the application, we'll hop on a call. I want to really learn about your goals, what you're struggling with, and you know, I want to make sure that I can actually help you accomplish what you specifically want to accomplish. And what we'll do is basically work together for an entire year and help you get your first 5 deals done. So if you really want like my most personal support that I offer, it's truly with me. I don't work with like a ton of people. I work with about a dozen at a time. I have a couple of openings right now, but I have a lot of people seeking these spots. A few of them have already been taken this week, because people are like getting their tax refunds and they've been following me for years, and they're like, okay, Steven, I'm getting the mentoring now, boom. So like, don't sit on this for too long. But if you really truly want to invest in you know, in yourself and your business, one of the biggest things is having a mentor there by your side, what to do every single step. And if you guys like this style, you like my style, my mentoring is the same way. It's just as informal. Go over to Steven Howell Mentoring and read the page that says Elite Mentoring. Read every page and apply, but read the page that says the Elite Mentoring Program, because I want you to know like what it entails. And Noel, for the mentoring, it's just an upfront cost. It's just an upfront cost. There's no monthly payment to the mentoring or anything like that. So that's stevenhowmentoring.com. I'll go ahead and put it here in the chat. stevenhowmentoring.com. You guys can check that out. If you guys are not on my email list, go over to productivewisdom.com. Wherever you opt in, I have a ton of free goodies for you. Some free training, my probate boot camp. the 10 deadly mistakes that like I have made in this business and I recommend not making. And then what else was I going to tell you? Oh, the other one is if you go over to Productive Wisdom. Here, let me just show you guys real quick. Bum, 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 bum. I recommend going over to this page right here. Let me pull this up. And checking out my blueprint product. I just reduced the price of this by 50%. I sold it very, very successfully for twice as much. And, you know, there's probably people watching this who have paid the full price for this. But this was a challenge to me by one of my mentors, and I just wanted to make this as cost effective as possible. But I recently, just in the last few weeks, designed this page here that kind of really breaks down every single thing that you get in the mentoring module by module and all the bonuses. So go check that out. But those are the two ways that I can help you, is through one-on-one mentoring. That's the very best way. And if you can't afford that, you know, I certainly understand. Get started with the blueprint, because I truly believe that if anyone really wants to learn this, business, yes, you could probably piece together all around the internet some of the information in the blueprint, but to have it step by step with as much detail, it's just going to save you so much time. And so just kind of give yourself a deadline, like give yourself 7 days, you know, to come up with the investment for the blueprint. And I promise you it will be worth, you know, every single penny and more. I designed it to be a super, super premium, course, and it's helped so many people. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But those are two ways, the one-on-one mentoring and the blueprint, that I can personally help you. The biggest thing is just to get started. Pick one. Let's get going, and we'll go from there. Okay. So before I go, I just want to share with you what I'm reading right now. So number one is this book, like, motivated me to start getting up at 4:30 a.m. It's called Discipline Equals Freedom by Jocko Willink. Get this book and read it. This guy has trained Navy SEALs for like the last 20 years. He has a podcast as well. It's really motivational. For all of you dads out there, this was recommended to me. It's called Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters. This is actually on my next to read list. I'm getting ready to crack this open. My mentor, he knew that I was having a daughter. I said, what's the one book you recommend? This is the one he told me. So if you are a dad, or even if you're a mother, check out this book. I highly recommend it. One of the top business books you could ever read is by a business wizard, and this is endorsed by some of the best minds in business that there have been in the last 20, 30, 40 years. Read this book. It's called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm also reading a book called $1 Million Coach. It's a very big challenge to be a mentor, to be a leader, and to have the responsibility to guide someone and coach someone and help them to get results. It's something I don't take lightly. So I am constantly trying to become better, and I pray about this, and I really try to become the best leader that I can be. And I'm not perfect, and I mess up all the time. But I want to build, you know, a big coaching business as well. But my thing is, like, I want to keep it very informal and affordable. And I want it to be hands-on. Like, I don't want to have a team of other coaches that coach people. But anyways, like, this is, if you're into coaching, like, this is a really good book. Another thing that I'm reading right now is Time Management for Entrepreneurs by Dan Kennedy. Excellent book. Recommend getting this. And another thing, I'm going to do a video about this really soon, but I sit at my desk at the coffee shop, and I'm into health and fitness and stuff like that. And it was told to me that, like, and I learned this from another entrepreneur, it's called Get Up. But, like, sitting is, and even when I was in a corporate world, I was like sitting for so long, like hunched over, and my shoulders used to roll forward even though like I work out and stuff, and I would constantly have lower back pain. And so I recently got a Varidesk here at home where I can raise the desk, so I'll stand part of the day and then I'll sit, you know, occasionally. So this book is really, really powerful, and I recommend checking that out, especially if you sit a lot. Last but not least, this is a course that I'm going through. It's about $100, and so this is like a secret weapon. So if you want to become better at writing your own letters, like to sellers, better at writing Craigslist ads, better at selling in general, the skill that you want to develop is called copywriting, right? It's the art of selling without necessarily talking with someone. It's you know, through whether it's through email or through an ad or whatever. And one of the world's best copywriters, his name, there's two. One is Gary Halpert, and the other one is John Carlton. So I'm going through a course called Kick-Ass Copywriting Secrets of a Marketing Rebel. This was recommended to me by a mentor of mine who does over $6 million a year. And I was asking him, what's the number one thing I can get better at? And he said, Steven, get better at copywriting. Get better at copywriting. And this course was like, it was either $97 or $108, something like that. So I recommend getting that, and that obviously has a huge impact on the ads that you create, on the emails back and forth with sellers, attorneys, Craigslist ads, newspaper ads, Google PPC ads, Facebook ads. You know, think of the power if you became a master at copywriting. So that's some of the things that like I talk about, guys, like with my students, like the way that I want you to think about this business. There's just a couple of skills that you got to get better at. And if you commit this next 3 months, the next year of your life to getting better at certain skills, then the money will follow. And it's not that you have to wait a year to get paid or wait a year to get results, but there's certain skills we got to get to work on. So anyways, guys, that's my rah-rah motivational tip for today. I have a lot of cool new YouTube videos. I have a whole laundry list of YouTube videos planned. If you like this video, I definitely recommend please checking me out on YouTube and subscribing to my channel. Definitely commenting on the videos, liking the videos, sharing the videos, letting me know future topics that you guys want to learn. I have a whole list of things that I've gotten feedback, and I want to keep them being produced. Eventually, I want to do daily uploads on YouTube, but for right now, I think this sweet spot that I've found, like a comfort level, is about 3 to 4 times a week I'll upload on YouTube. So that's it, guys. This has been longer than I intended, but it was a lot of fun. The feedback has been great, and it's been fun, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. If you guys would like me to do more hangouts like this, and we can talk about different subjects and things like that, just let me hear it in the chat. So let me hear in the chat if you guys want me to do future live streams on YouTube. Maybe I can do them, I don't want to say weekly right now, but maybe like bi-weekly, maybe monthly, maybe more often, especially if the value was there. So Unique says the movie you mentioned, The Peaceful Warrior, was awesome. Yes! Oh, that's right. Unique, I saw your comment about that, and I forgot to reply to you there. But yeah, that movie is awesome. The Peaceful Warrior. I recommend checking that out. Noel says, have I heard of Millionaire Success Habits? Yes, I have heard of that book. Yep. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end this now. I appreciate you guys. I'd love to hear from you still in the chat. If you got a lot of value out of this, let me hear it. I know some have left already, but I had a ton of fun. Hope you guys liked it. I'll see you in my upcoming videos. And again, if I get a lot more comments and stuff, I'll start doing these more often. But like I said, if you guys want more information on the ways that I can help you, head over to StephenHowellMentoring.com, Productive Wisdom, And then this link to the blueprint here. Noel says, hell yeah, I can't wait for the next one. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, you know what? I sent this email out today, but just to give you guys a little bit of social proof here, I want to do this before I go. So one of my coaching students back in 2015, he posted this on Facebook, and there's a video that goes with it. You can check him out. But I was just kind of scrolling through Facebook the other Saturday, and I saw that he posted this, and it made my day just because I see him doing big things in Charlotte now, and you know, the fact that, you know, he said these kind words. He's like, the guy who helped me from the beginning. I love you, brother. You know, was just a huge blessing. My student that I recently interviewed, Isaiah, he just crushed out an $11,000 real estate deal. He's also, I'm advising him on a digital product that he's most likely, he hasn't done this yet, but he's gotten 1,000 opt-ins in the last 24 hours and 3,200 opt-ins in the last 72 hours. And he's very likely going to do between $30,000 and $50,000 on a digital product on a little $97 course that he's making for the barbering industry. And that's going to be a whole new 6-figure business, and I'm kind of advising him on that. So I just thought I'd share that, like, from Kaliko, who I worked with 3 years ago, to like Isaiah, who I've worked with over the last year, like, when you work with me, whether you are a customer of my blueprint product or you make the big investment of being a student of mine, like, I take care of my people. Like, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm vested, and I want you to be successful. Lee, who is a customer of the blueprint, he said, he's just like, I want to start by saying thank you for the information you provide. It's amazing and so helpful. He's new to wholesaling, but he's found it incredibly motivating. And he sent me this email on March 12th, so just a few days back. And then my man Wilbert in Memphis, who's crushing it, he has 2 contracts this month, a 10K deal, and then this is an 8K deal. So I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of social proof. Like, I'm not just obviously, and you guys could probably tell by the content and stuff, but you know, I think it helps to, you know, occasionally show some results and stuff like that too. So anyways, guys, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to go ahead and cut this now.